Hello world, it's Jordan Jasmer. I know it's been a while. I think it's been almost a year since my last video. And I feel like I say that every time now because typically it's usually months to a year before I post another video. But, I just wanted to get on here and kind of give you guys some updates on my own life for those that care to know. And, we'll just kind of go from there. So as of recent, I've chosen to step away from the church. And that's going to come as a shock to a lot, but I say this because I feel that even though I haven't been active in a while, the church has still kind of been telling me what to do in, different aspects of my life. And, with that being said, before, anyone starts commenting or anything, I wanted to kind of give you this visual of kind of what's going on in my head or, how I look at my brain. So lately, my brain is this backyard. It's pretty, but there's a lot of weeds. And these weeds keep growing back no matter how many times I try to get rid of them. And, aside from the weeds, again, there's a lot of plants that, I'm working on and trying to get a lot of things worked on. But overall, these weeds, they won't leave my garden. And I don't know what it is about them, but they're stubborn and they come back all the time. And, just blah, blah, blah. Anyways, as I came to realize, I found out that I had never been digging the roots of these weeds out. But what I'd actually been doing was just cutting the heads off. But due to that, again, the weeds would come back, and they would come back very, very fast. And when I found out what I needed to do, I realized that my backyard was going to look very messy for a while because I'd have to dig down deep and make a lot of holes in my yard in order to get to the bottom of the root. And, and it wasn't, but all of these roots were somehow connected to this one thing. And symbolically, that thing was, or, is, the church in my mind. All right, so now you all have this visual of how I look in my brain. And, before I continue, I just wanted to say that I have no ill will against the church. I've learned a lot in my time there. And I know that the church brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. And that's not for me to judge. I still have a big heart for the church. But again, that being said, in this phase of my life, I can't get myself to go back and be active anymore. I have felt uncomfortable in an environment for years. That was and has always been directed towards heterosexual people. I never had the resources growing up that I needed. And due to the lack of that, I had to deal with a lot of emotions all by myself. And, a lot of these emotions happened, around the time I was 26 when I finally decided to start, dating men. So, I was immature with some of my actions, and, I would make men who, that I liked or, had crushes on, I'd make them very uncomfortable. And, a lot of that was due to me not picking up on social cues. It was very infuriating, and I had allowed myself to feel those trapped emotions, finally after years and years. But now they were a pain to deal with. But at the same time, I was glad that I could still feel them for what they were. I will say, though, I was immature. And, I just wanted to apologize to said individuals who may or may not have felt uncomfortable with some of my own actions, because again, I was a teenager in this 20-something-year-old body who didn't know what to do with these emotions. All right, so fast forward almost about 5 years. So 26, 31 now. And though I've been able to get better control of these emotions, I was still struggling with this cycle of falling for straight men. There was no end to it. It was just heartbreak after heartbreak, and it never got easier. And most of the time, I wouldn't even tell these men because it would change the relationship. And I figured they wouldn't want to be my friend anymore because, to them, it's weird to have a gay man like you. And, that's at least what a lot of straight men tend to think. And that's exactly what happened in one of my friendships. And it hurt enough to where I didn't want to experience that again. And if somebody was going to, leave or get out of my life, it was going to be for other reasons. But I wasn't going to allow one of those reasons to be because they were weirded out because I told them I had feelings for them. Because at the end of the day, I'm human just like them, and they get feelings for people who don't have feelings for them. But that's not weird because a lot of those people they have feelings for tend to be women, and that's the normal thing. Anyways, so that is that part. So I've gone on long enough about that now. So kind of go back a little as I started to dive deeper into where these thoughts were coming from. I found myself kind of thinking more about the church. And I was like, all right, where are these feelings coming from? Why am I constantly in this cycle? I knew somehow the church was connected into this. I didn't know how, but I felt determined to figure out where it was all coming from. And so I kind of dived deeper, and so I went into some thoughts about my childhood and how I was raised within the LDS community. And I realized that my whole life, I wanted to get married. I never questioned that because that's exactly what all my siblings were doing. And that's just what happened. And I wanted to be able to just, fit in. And so I wanted to follow that trend. And as I grew older and recognized my feelings for men and recognized the complications that would cause in my story, I knew things for me would be different. And, and you can refer back to some of my other videos from a few years back if you want more details on, my coming out story. So, some other details I wanted to kind of pull from my past, which I've talked about in some of my other videos, is, when I was engaged to a woman, again, wonderful woman, I was terrified. And part of that fear came from my selfishness. I didn't want to give up my life I had, that I've been living, And another part of it was because I didn't understand love at that point, and I had no idea what love really was, that type of love. And, what I was supposed to feel and, what it was supposed to be. But I knew it wasn't what I was feeling. So again, fast forward to now. I just turned 31 recently. Woo! And I've come to the conclusion that at this point in my life, I understand that I don't need to be married. And I don't need to in order to be successful. And I don't need to have kids in order to continue life successfully. And I'm just as successful as those that I graduated high school with. Life is crazy, and, it works differently for everyone. And so, okay. And, now I'm going to come full circle here and, kind of go back to the topic I'm making this video for. And again, stepping away from the church, I have felt peace with this choice. Even though it was not the easiest choice for me, I no longer have those pressures to follow what everyone else around me is doing anymore. And, and what this community expects. I've been ignoring those pressures for a long time now, for at least like 5 years. Because I was just like, man, like, I want to get married, I want to have kids, like, even though it's to a man, like, this is, like, I just want that, I want that. And now that I made this choice, I felt a lot of relief, and I feel like I'm able to finally start shifting my mindset that has been, that has kind of kept me stuck in this rut for the longest time. And I want to give a lot of that credit to the people around me, my family, my friends, and a lot of the people I find inspiration from. And all of them combined have gotten me to where I'm at right now. I feel very motivated. I feel very mentally successful with my life. I am happy, and even though my life is nothing what I thought it would be 10 years ago, I did not. I thought, 10 years ago, I thought I'd be married to a woman. I would have 3 or 4 kids already. I'd have the perfect house with a picket fence, and I wouldn't have tattoos. I'd have my degree. I'd have my dream job, and I have none of that except for a dog. So, who I love very dearly and, consider my own. And, for me, it's like life will throw all sorts of curves at you. And I no longer feel depressed about these topics. And now that I'm able to kind of get this story out to you, I feel even more relieved knowing that this is my truth and that people know that this is my truth. And I'm able to free myself again from those thoughts and feelings and pressures. And though my mind is very clumped up and messy right now, and this backyard inside my head is everywhere, I'm taking the time to clean it up and, plant some new things in there and figure out what else I can use to make this garden pretty. And, that's where my head and my life is. And to really, just give a quick summary of it all, I am stepping away. I'm leaving because, again, I feel uncomfortable in church. And even when I've been inactive, there is still a lot of mental pressure that I put myself through. And that's just what is ingrained in my head. And there's no ill will towards anyone or the church. But I feel that I can finally break down this wall that's in my head that's been stopping me from moving forward. And at the end of the day, you choose what makes you happy. And as long as it's not hurting someone else or yourself, then it should be a passion that you go for. I was sad that, this was the choice I felt I needed to make. But, because, again, the church did bring a lot of good memories and has been a big part of shaping who I am today. And it's just gotten to a point where it's no longer something I can continue to be a part of, because now it has become something that has stopped me from growing. And for those who are watching, thank you. If you are going to church still and you find that it does make you happy, I do encourage you to keep going, because, happiness comes from the things you love. And if it's not making you happy, then maybe, question that. And see, why am I feeling this way? And maybe you can find out why and fix it. And also, I just wanted to end this video with a quote, so as someone who I look up to once said, and you may or may not know this person, but she says that, I don't think you should ever have to apologize for your excitement just because something is cliche or doesn't mean it's not awesome. The worst kind of person is someone who makes someone feel bad or dumb or stupid for being excited about something. Taylor Swift. You may or may not know her. And, I love this quote because it's just a good reminder to me that I am going to live how I want to live and do what I want, because the things I do is what makes me happy in the end. And that's what makes me successful. And I don't care if some of the things I enjoy are silly, because everything that I love is who I am. And to quote Miss Swift one more time, you are what you love. All right? So again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And please, if you feel like this message could help someone else, please share it with them, and, just please take some of the things I have, to thought, and take that time to really dive into yourself and find out what makes you happy. You are amazing, you're loved, and this world is crazy, but you are loved nonetheless.